Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most common procedures in the entire world, getting a filling. I know, it seems simple, right? But there's an incredible amount of science, engineering, and even art happening in your mouth. So, what is your dentist actually thinking? Let's dive in. And it's a question a lot of us have probably had. You're just sitting there in the chair, and all you can hear is the whir of the tools. But what you can't see is this incredible mental checklist. A whole series of complex calculations and judgments they're making with every single move. It is so much more than just drilling out a cavity. And really, this phrase says it all. Think about it. A tooth with a cavity is already compromised. It's already under stress. The dentist's job is to go in, remove the problem, and then build a shield, all without causing any collateral damage to the living tissue inside. It's basically a rescue operation on a microscopic scale.
And that whole process? It's officially called cavity preparation. The best way to think about it is like an architect creating a blueprint for a building. Every single line, every angle, every decision is made with that final structure in mind. Because if that blueprint is even a tiny bit off, the whole thing, the whole restoration, could fail down the line.
So how do they get that blueprint perfect every single time? Well, dentists rely on three fundamental principles. You can really think of them as the three main pillars of a perfect filling. You've got the biological principle, which is all about protecting the tooth's life. Then there's the mechanical principle, to build it to last. And finally, the aesthetic principle, to make it look completely natural. Let's kick things off with what is arguably the most critical one of all.
All right, rule number one, the biological principle. This is all about protecting the pulp, which, you can really think of as the living, beating heart of the tooth. It's incredibly sensitive, so the absolute top priority is to keep it safe.
So why is this so important? Well, we need to look at what dentists call the pulp-dentin organ. Basically, the pulp and the dentin, that's the layer right under your enamel, they're not separate things. They're basically one interconnected, living unit. The decay has already stressed this unit out, so the dentist's job is to come in and be a peacekeeper, to cause absolutely no more stress. And protecting that pulp, it's this constant, delicate balancing act. Just about every tool, every technique, it comes with a trade-off. Things like how fast the drill is spinning, how much pressure is being used, and the heat it all generates. All of it has to be perfectly managed to avoid upsetting the tooth. Okay, so check this out. If you use a super high-speed drill, you're going to get more friction and heat, which isn't great for the pulp. But on the other hand, there's less vibration, which is way more comfortable for you. Go with a lower speed and you get less heat, but more vibration. See the dilemma? The dentist has to find that perfect sweet spot right in the middle.
And it's the exact same story with pressure. It's a direct relationship. The harder they push, the more friction and heat you get. That's why that light, super controlled touch is just absolutely essential to keep the tooth cool and, happy.
So when you put it all together, you realize that keeping that pulp safe isn't just one single thing, it's a whole system. From the exact angle of the cut, to keeping everything moist, to using coolant and super sharp tools to reduce friction, every single step is designed to keep that living tissue safe and sound. It's a truly holistic approach to healing.
Okay, so we've protected the life of the tooth. Now we can move on to our second principle, the mechanical rules. And if the biology part was all about keeping the tooth safe, the mechanics part is all about engineering it to be strong. We're talking strong enough to handle the incredible forces of chewing day in and day out for years.
When it comes to the engineering, there are really two main goals. First, the way the cavity is shaped has to prevent both the tooth and the filling from cracking under all that chewing pressure. And second, it has to be designed so the filling literally locks into place and can't get knocked out. It's got to be strong, and it's got to stay put.
So how do they pull that off? Well, it's all about respecting the tooth's natural architecture. See, our teeth aren't just these smooth, simple shapes. They have very specific ridges and corners and angles. You can think of them like structural pillars. These areas you see here, the cusp tips, the marginal ridges, these are the parts of the tooth that have literally evolved over millennia to take the most force. The goal is to save as many of them as possible.
This is what's so cool about it. A really great cavity preparation works with the tooth's natural strength, not against it. The dentist is basically an architect, carefully designing the filling to leave as many of these natural pillars intact as they can, letting them do the job they were built for. It's all about maximizing the tooth's own built-in strength. All right, and that brings us to our third and final principle, the aesthetics. This is where the hard science of biology and the precise engineering of mechanics meets art.
It's that final polish, that little bit of finesse that makes the whole repair just disappear.
Now, finishing with finesse means paying attention to a few key details that go way beyond just function. For one, the design has to be conservative, right? You don't want the filling to be obvious every time you smile. Then there's color. Any discolored parts of the tooth are carefully removed so you get a perfect, consistent match. And finally, all the surfaces are shaped into these smooth, sweeping curves that just look and feel completely natural.
Okay, let's bring this all home. When you really step back and look at it, you realize the so-called simple filling is anything but simple. It's this incredible performance that brings together deep biological knowledge, super precise engineering, and a real artistic eye, all focused on one tiny spot in your mouth. I think this quote just nails it. Every single successful filling has to live right at that intersection. It's got to be safe for the tooth, strong enough to last, and beautiful enough that no one even knows it's there. If you're missing even one of those, it's just not a success.
So, I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you find yourself in that dentist chair, I really hope you'll have a totally new appreciation for this incredible balancing act that's happening. And maybe you'll ask yourself, what am I appreciating the most right now? The science, the engineering, or the art? Or maybe, just maybe, it's the perfect blend of all three. Thanks for tuning on.